So no prizes for guessing where we're going to start with this drawing. We're going to start with the head. So I'm going to draw a nice big circle like I do in pretty much every drawing. I always start with a head unless it's like a tree or something which doesn't have a head. And then I'm just going to kind of draw a kind of a bendy cross shape on this side. So the character's facing this way. So this is the exact center of the face. And the character's facing this way. So everything we draw following this needs to also kind of be facing this way if we want the drawing to remain consistent. So from there, I think it's a good idea to draw in the ears. So just two kind of big round blobs. Going to give them some slight kind of pointing going on here. See how it kind of bends sharply there and a little bit around here. Just to kind of give it more some more shape. You can draw them perfectly round if you really want to. And the ear on this side, I'm going to do it a bit smaller. So bring this in closer to the face like that. So we have this kind of idea of perspective. So this ear appears to be way bigger, but that's because it's on the nearer side of the face. And this one is further away because obviously the character's facing this way. So this ear is kind of tucked in behind the head just a little bit. So inside each of these ears, I'm just going to draw another circular shape. Pretty much every drawing you'll ever draw is it's basically comprised entirely of circles and rectangles and squares and sometimes triangles. That's pretty much every drawing you'll ever do. As I've said before, but it's something that definitely is worth repeating. I'm just adding a little bit of a bump here for a cheek. And now I can actually get rid of this guideline, so you can feel free to do the same. You can tickle away that one with your eraser if you want. Don't mind any background noise here. It's actually lashing down with rain. I'm very glad I'm indoors right now. Just going to add a little bit of cheek fluff on both sides of the face here. They have very kind of bushy, furry faces, so that's definitely good to get across in your drawing as well, especially if you're going for the cute avenue. My koala is kind of cute, but also really grumpy about having to eat eucalyptus all day. So for the nose, this is a big kind of, it kind of looks like a triangle, but the edges, the corners rather, have been kind of softened out, and we end up with this kind of, like I said, a triangular soft shape. Okay, and then either side of that, I'm going to draw some eyes. So here's a quick tip for you on how to draw kind of grumpy eyes. I'm going to start by drawing a small circle either side of that nose, and remember to keep the perspective in mind. This cross-shaped guideline that we drew earlier is really good for guiding us in how to place the eyes. So the eyes should be just kind of resting along the edges of that line there, and the curve that you gave that guideline will really help you understand just exactly where those eyes need to be placed. I will do a tutorial on more kind of 3D stuff in the future. I haven't quite covered that yet, but that's definitely something I'm going to do. So going back to the eyes here, these eyes look more surprised than anything else. Like right now, our koala looks kind of impressed that whatever he's eating is surprisingly tasty. But that's not what I'm going to go for in this one. I'm going to actually cut this eye in half here and cut this eye in half here. Notice a slight angle on that line. And then with my eraser, just for the sake of clarity, you don't have to do this just yet. I'm just going to erase the top of those eyes, and we end up straight away. That eye is immediately way grumpy. Look at that. Like they're half lidded, and this character looks like he's had enough of whatever it is he's eating. So now to kind of help convey the idea that he is eating something, I'm going to draw a small kind of half semicircle, half circle or semicircle. A half semicircle will be a quarter circle shape here, just to kind of show some food in the mouth, and then a very kind of unimpressed shape for the mouth there. So it's got that real kind of upward curve in the middle, and then really goes down at the end. So just one glance at this character's face, you're like, oh, this character's very fed up with something, and this bulge in the cheek here really tells you that there's something in his mouth. In this case, eucalyptus leaves. So now we've got a head, so what about the rest of the body? So we can draw a blob underneath this, and I have recently done a tutorial on how to draw cartoon bodies, but pretty much the gist of it is you just draw this kind of bean shape. So you've got a nice kind of like paunch here, this kind of sticky out bit for the belly, and a lot of Disney characters actually have this same shape. And then the back end sticks out a bit, and then the actual spine itself curves in before returning to the shoulder. I'll actually link that right here now. You should see that card come up here if I've remembered to do it. So there's the shape for the body. So now we can attach some arms. So starting here, bring a line down to the hips, and just before you reach the bottom, don't quite get to the bottom there, just draw a line like that curves out and in, then a second one that curves out and in, and a last one that curves out and in like that. And you can bring this right up to here to kind of create a shoulder shape. So this is a very common technique in animation and in cartoons to draw a very simple hand tucked in at the back. Characters I can think of that do this, I think the Jetsons, they kind of abuse this technique an awful lot. It's just a really good way of drawing a hand that's not really being used in very simple cartoons. So speaking of hands, we'll go and do the other one now. So I'm going to draw a line that curves out like this, and the great thing about cartoons is that you don't have to really draw them anatomically correct. You don't have to draw an elbow or any bones or anything like that. If you want to bend the arm like spaghetti, like a noodle, you can do that. So you just draw a little curve like that sticking out, and at the end I've drawn a circle because I'm not sure exactly how I want my hand to look until I've drawn what the character is holding. I've actually also done a tutorial on that. I'll link that up here as well right now. You can see that, you can click that anytime you want and watch that. That's in the old channel format, so it'll be slightly different explaining going on there, but I'm sure you'll get it. So here, just for the feet, what I've done is I've drawn a line that curves down away from the body. And before I get too far down, I flick it up for the end of the foot and then down. And you get this kind of wedge shape. So the toe, well, it's not really just a toe. The top of the foot really kind of juts up like this. And then it goes flat along the bottom and tucks up there to the waist. And for the other foot, I think it's easier if we draw it basically the same, but reversed. And we can cheat because cartoons are cartoons, and we can cheat with anatomy, and that's what's so fun about drawing them, really. You can kind of do whatever you want. Now these feet are a little bit plain. You might want to add some shoes or sandals if you're feeling daring. I'm just going to add a small line at the end of each foot to show a toe. There is a third toe, but that third toe is hidden behind this big middle toe here. This character is only going to have 3 toes. Very common for cartoons to only have 3 digits on each of their hands and their feet. So now for the little tree branch that our character is going to be holding. So it's best to draw what they're holding first and then draw the hand around it. Do not draw the hand first. That is bad news. You don't want to do that because then you're restricting yourself in how you can draw the object that they're holding. So this guy is going to be holding a sprig or a twig or a branch, whatever you want to call it, of eucalyptus. I'm going to give it a bit of a bendy shape to give it more character. I could have drawn a straight line like this, but it's not very exciting and it doesn't reflect the nature of a branch of eucalyptus leaves. They're very bendy once they've, well, it's more of a twig really. The actual branches of eucalyptus trees themselves aren't particularly bendy, but the twigs certainly are. And then coming away from this, much like in my mistletoe tutorial, you just kind of draw some lines that come away like veins, like branches, just kind of branching away like that. So have a bit of fun with it, you know, flick it out as much as you want, make it crazy detailed, or just give a few branches. It's totally up to you. So just kind of experiment with that shape. Try not to overlap too much, try not to have it touch the face because it will kind of ruin the silhouette of our drawing. I'll do a tutorial on silhouettes someday just to kind of help explain what I'm talking about there, because that's quite a big area of discussion. A silhouette is basically what your drawing would look like if it was just a shadow, and that's actually very important in making a drawing look good generally. So what I'm doing here, I'm just adding some leaves to our eucalyptus tree, twig. I haven't really decided what I'm going to call this yet. I think it's just a twig, and I'm just adding some leaves on here. We can overlap a little bit here because that's only really natural. And they're only small and they're quite sharp, thin leaves like that. Maybe because he's already eaten one, you might want to draw a little one here that kind of just cuts off. There's no leaves there because that's probably the one he's just chomped off and he's very bored having to munch through that. Okay, so just a bunch of leaves just going off in different directions off those branches. And your sketch of our koala dude here is pretty much done. There may be a few details you might want to iron out. So I'm going to bring in this cheek a bit and then see what I did there. I just kind of guided it a bit further in. This is the wonderful thing about drawing with a pencil, in that you can be very, very destructive and you can kind of play around with your drawing quite a lot. Oh, I actually forgot the hand. Right, so let's tackle the hand. So the hand, now that we've got a position for this twig resting in the hand, I like to draw the thumb first. And how I draw the thumb, I start here at the top of the hand. I start here, I draw up across the shape that he's holding, and then draw a big blob like that, okay? It's kind of like a little sausage, a thick sausage just kind of resting across the hand. And you might want to make sure that whatever this character is holding, be it a twig of eucalyptus or a sword or a notebook, whatever it is they're holding, it rests underneath that thumb, and that thumb ends on the other side of it like this. Otherwise it's going to look a little bit unnatural. And then all you have to do is draw the 3 fingers clasping over it, and those 3 fingers sit underneath the thumb. So quite easily you can just do 1 bump here, that's 1 finger covered already, then another one here, okay, and a 3rd one here, okay. And you can see that the twig is totally covered by the fingers going over it. If they're not, just kind of nudge your sketch over, use your eraser to kind of clear it up and stretch it over the object that they're holding without it looking a bit too unnatural. They are cartoons, so they're a bit stretchier than real people. But yeah, there's definitely a point where things can look a little bit funny. And there you go. If you want, you can thicken out your twig a little bit here. I know I'm certainly going to. The lines I was drawing for the branches of this twig were only really guidelines. So I'm just going to thicken out my twig just a tiny bit. Don't want to overdo it because they are thin in real life. And I know it's a cartoon, but sometimes it's wise to pick things a little bit like how they appear in real life so people can actually guess what it is you're drawing. Just going to tidy up that armpit there. We don't really need this guideline here, so if it's really bothering you, you can erase that. We were done with that quite a while ago. I don't know why I left it that long. And if you want, you can add a little, I don't know, a little bit of hair here, a little scruffy hairstyle, maybe some fur sticking out here, give him a bit of a bed head. Maybe you can add some fur patterns. There's a bit of white here or something, or a bit of white on the belly. You can go to town. You can add whatever features you want to this character. But once your sketch is done, grab your Sharpie or your pen or whatever it is you want to go over your drawing with, and only go over the lines you want to keep. You don't want to go over this guideline here. Try your best to ignore those guidelines, and you'll end up with your very own really awesome drawing of a koala. And I'll show you mine right now. Transition, and there we go. Not bad, not bad. This grumpy little fella should probably broaden his horizons a bit if he doesn't want to sit and eat eucalyptus leaves all the time, but then again, that's literally all koalas eat. Honestly, that's it. Like, they just eat eucalyptus. So good luck with that one, little buddy. Before I go, don't forget to join the Draw Cartoons Discord. We'd love you to join us because we really want to see all of your drawings over there. Just scroll on down, hit the link in the description, and if you need to, make an account. They're free and they're really, really easy to make, so go ahead. And thanks for watching. Make sure you drop me a like and subscribe if you want to keep learning to draw the fast and easy way. Until next time.